before we do that, I guess Ketanbhai over the last 3 or 4 weeks, who's been coming regularly? Sharon, I guess you've been coming. Right, all of you. Okay. You've been talking about the types of karma, nature of soul, and classes of beings and senses. Right? Is that right? Broadly? Yeah. Okay. Good. And so what I'm going to cover off is chapter 2.26 to 2.37, which is about what happens to the soul when it dies. Okay, not just the human soul, but animal souls, heavenly souls, and so on. What actually happens to them when they die? And also, what happens at birth? You know, so what are all the different bodies that we can be born in at birth? Now, this is probably, if I'm completely honest, this is very factual. There's no practical benefit in our life, you know, because all we're going to talk about things which we have no control over, you know, where we are born and no direct control over, and the kind of body we're born into. But I think for the sake of making sure we don't miss anything in the Tattvartha Sutra, I'm going to go through this quite quickly, okay? And I will try and make it as interesting as I can, but I just want to warn you, it is very factual, okay? Try not to go to sleep. And these are the 2 books I've looked at. So some question is that when the soul dies, bear in mind it has no body, it has no mind, no speech. Where does the energy come from? For it to go anywhere, yeah? Because it will need some energy to move. And how does it travel? And when it gets to a new body, what kind of bodies can it go into? What kind of existence can it have? So the last bit is really biology, which if you've all been to school here, we'll all know about it, but it's interesting, the Jain view of biology, right? Which is actually quite, well, when we come onto it, you'll see what they say. So, so 2.26 basically says, Vigraha Gato Karma Yoga, and basically what that is saying is that the Vigraha Gata means that you know, for the soul that is not liberated, in terms of going to its next place, it takes quite a complex turn, like up to 3 turns are allowed. And a soul that's completely liberated follows a direct path to moksha. Okay? And the other interesting thing is that when the soul is liberated, when the soul travels, remember there is no body, speech or mind, right? We leave all that behind. I think we know that anyway. Right? But there is a karmic body, but there's no body, speech or mind on transit after death. And then 2.27 says Anusreni Gatihi, which basically says the soul travels in a straight line, and Gati means the path that the soul travels in. So, let me just try to explain this in a model that my son Vishal has done. So this is the Jain universe, right? Has anyone seen this kind of shape? Have you probably seen these kind of shapes, haven't you? But really, it's really this shape. Okay? Because we are in a 3D world, aren't we? We don't live in a flat world. Does that make sense? Yeah? So basically, if you look at this, moksha is right at the top. I'll pass this on later. But moksha is right at the top, yeah? And we're right here. Okay? And for us to go from here to here, for us to go to moksha, we take this straight line. Yeah? But if we want to come somewhere here, on this other side of the universe, right, can you see that we can't get there unless we go round and up? Can you see that? On a 3D shape, we can't get there unless we actually go round and up. Can you see that? Is that kind of obvious, right? And that's what those turns are. Okay, that's what those turns are. So if you want to get from here to here, then you actually have to make some turns and go across to the other side. Does that make sense to everyone? Right? Very, 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 very important in terms of that. So what you can see here is that the soul at departure can make several turns. If it right at the top is moksha. So, and obviously to get to moksha, you have to be born as a human, right? You can't be born as in hell, or you can't be born in heaven, right? You have to be born as a human. So from that human point to the moksha, it's a straight direct line, right? If you're here, you go straight here. If you're here, you go straight here. If you and you wouldn't be here. So if you're here or here, you go straight up. Does that make sense? Okay. And then if you want to go to heaven and you're here and you want to go on this part of heaven, right? And remember, this is a you can't go inside this box, right? We're all living on the outside, right? Does that make sense? We all live on the outside. There's nothing inside, right? This is like a representation of the universe. Then you can go to heaven. You can just a straight line up into heaven. Can you see that? Yeah. And then if you want to go to this part of the universe, then you literally have to go down and make a turn. Can you see that? And you end up here. Right? So you have to go down and make a turn. And then if you want to go further down, you have to go down, make a turn, and then go down here. So you go down, and down here. Can you see those turns, right? And what they're saying is that the maximum amount of turns you can do when you pass away is 3 turns and 4 routes, right? So the last one, you can see 1 turn, 2 turns, 3 turns. Can you see that? And exam question, for that soul, where is it going to? Where is it going to? Where has it started? Anyone guess? Where is it? Where is it though? T3, T1, where is it? In hell, right? Yeah, and it arrives at T3, which is where? In Devlok, right? In heaven, yeah? Okay, so does that make sense? And figure 5, where is it? Where does it depart and where does it arrive? Hell to, yeah, to, well, from hell to, I think, our worldly being here. Okay, so it could be an animal as well. Okay.
You mentioned maximum turns.
Yeah.
3 times.
Yeah.
What was that?
Why? Yeah, because wherever you want to get to on this thing, a maximum of 3 turns should take you there. So yeah, basically it's like geometry, you know. If you want to get here, and you're here, then basically a maximum of 3 turns will bring you here. That's the aim. That's what this model is trying to show. Does that make sense? Yeah. Now the other question is that if you're here, why can't you just go through here and just go direct line and come to this other side, right? Why don't we just do that? Why does the soul just go through and to the other side? And this is very interesting in the sense that I don't know if you guys realize that people are talking about other universes that might be out there, okay, that can exist, and there's multiverse theories and so on. But in Jainism, our soul can never leave this universe. Okay, so that's it. It's still within our universe. It doesn't leave our universe. Am I right, Raju? It doesn't leave our universe, right? So if there is another universe out there, we'll never get there, right? Our soul is within this universe, right? And chapter 4 talks more about that and the relationship. So basically, because it's within this universe, it can't travel outside the universe and come out to the other side. It has to live in this shape, right? It has to live within this shape. It can only be on the boundaries of this shape. It can't actually travel through. Is that straight? Clear as it's difficult to explain, but do you kind of get the point? Let me pass this around so you can have a feel of it. Maybe just touching it might just give you a feel. Okay, the next thing is all of us who've been to school and learned physics and so on, we all learned about the Big Bang Theory, right? We all learned that at one point there was nothing and the universe emerged from nothing. Am I right? And there are lots of equations to show it. And until the 70s, until the 80s, probably 90s, this was the common belief that the universe had a start point. But now, most scientists will say that's not necessarily true. Okay, the universe can be static, like what the Jains believe. The universe could have a start point, like what the scientists believe. Some people believe the universe is inflating and keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. Right. So it's quite interesting that really, if you believe the Big Bang theory, it completely contradicts Jainism. Because Jainism says the universe exists. That's it. It doesn't disappear. Right? Yeah.
Just in that model, is there a plane for time? Or is it just so when you're moving, you're still in the same times element of the cycle? Or are you going to travel between?
So the time cycles are within our universe. Or within our Earth, actually not, within this, where we live is a time cycle, right? But there can be different time cycles in different parts of the universe, yeah. Oh, that doesn't answer your question?
Yeah. Well, I'm thinking of a story that recently we had where, what was the name? From Atma City, is it? Where he traveled from one place where the Ketanbhai exists,
Yes.
which would have been in a different time plane.
Yes.
So he managed to travel from this universe to another universe, if you like.
Yeah, I think when they mean the universe, they mean, my view is they mean galaxies, right? But there's only one universe as such, according to Jain theory. So they're traveling from one area to another part of our universe, rather than another universe.
So then it would be in a different time, a different point in the time cycle there.
Yes, that's a separate theory. In terms of time cycles, I think they're different. So we know in Sutra, they're in a different time cycle, right? So that's not related to the overall universe, yeah. Again, that's very interesting. The other thing is that Einstein. So you see that shape of that universe. Most people thought the shape of the universe was a circle, right? What that means is that if you believe that's the shape of the universe and you started traveling. I just started traveling like this and went on and on and on forever, for a long time. At some point, I would see the backside of the Earth, right? Because if the universe is a circle, you keep traveling, you'll come back on yourself. Does that make sense? Right? Yeah, because the universe is a circle. So most people believe that was the nature of the universe, but it's been shown more recently that shape is not necessarily true. There can be many other shapes of the universe, right? Including what we call a toroid. Could be curved universe and inverse curved universe. So scientists have proved more in modern times that the universe doesn't have to be curved in the kind of shape of a globe. Does that make sense to everyone, right? And it's very interesting that this Jain universe we have, probably if we shown it to a scientist 50, 30, 40 years ago, they'll say like, that's just not right, Universe don't exist like that. But it's interesting that now people agree that the universe could have many shapes. So who knows? This shape that we believe in might be the little shape. Okay, so the next thing is that ekasamayo avigraha, which basically says that when the question is asking is that when the soul is traveling, where does kind of nourishment come from? Okay, because where does it get its energy to travel from? Because the karmic body, the subtle body it has with the soul will still need nourishment, some nourishment to keep going. And what this is saying is that ekantov va naharaka, which is actually saying anaharakaha, is basically saying that that during those times of turns, nourishment is there is no nourishment coming to this body. However, at the point of departure, when you die, when you pass away, at that last point, there is some nourishment available for that travel. And when you arrive, if you're a human, you arrive in your mother's womb, or if you are an amoeba, then you arrive, at that point an amoeba reproduces and makes another the amoeba, it gets that nourishment at that last point. But in those two, in a maximum of kind of 3 points of turns of four legs of travel, in the middle two, there is no direct nourishment available. And different versions of Tattvartha Sutra, from what I've read, what Ketanbhai has told me, is that that nourishment can come from the mind and senses as well, at the point of departure or the point of arrival, as well as the body. So again, this is very, very dry, but that's what it says. Let me make sure I haven't missed anything. So the other thing is that in terms of time units, this time unit is so small of travel that if you take that time unit and do it to the power of 20, so you take the time unit and multiply 20 times, you get to 1 second. Okay? So it's a very, 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 very short time unit when our soul travels to another body. It's just incredibly, incredibly small. Chapter 4 of Tattvartha Sutra is going to talk about infinity. It's going to talk about the divisibility of time. It's going to talk about multiple infinities as well. So high levels of infinity than the infinity we recognize. And that kind of talks a little bit more about this as well. Okay, any questions on this? Okay, move on. So then 232 basically talks about the types of birth. Okay, and basically it says that these are the kind of births we have, right? So Samurchana is basically asexual reproduction, which I'll go into. Garbhoho is the womb, right? Humans, all of us will be born in a womb. Upapata is the fact that you're born in this kind of protean body, which I'll talk about as well. And Janma means birth. Let's make sure I get this right. Yeah. So this Upapata is a Vakriya body, which we're going to cover off and the rest of later on in the Tattvartha Sutra, which I'll explain a bit in a minute. So let's just start with asexual reproduction. So we all know that amoeba multiply, right? Without male or female, they just split, keep on splitting forever, bacteria and so on. And then you sometimes also have what we call fertilization outside the womb, right? So frogs, the fertilization occurs outside the womb. So there's still a sperm and an egg, but they fertilize outside the womb. And things like jellyfish as well. And then what they do is that basically once they're fertilized, they take the nutrients from around them to get bigger and stronger. Then you have the classic birth of humans and mammals, where there is mother and father, and basically the offspring grows in the womb, and then after gestation, out it pops. Okay. And then the third one is hellish and heavenly beings. So they have this Vakriya body, and basically what that does is there are 5 types of body, which we're going to come on to later, but what that does is that body, when it's kind of born, it's hard to describe because I haven't seen it, is that when it's born in heaven or hell, it's got the ability to expand or grow. Okay, it's kind of born with that body, which can automatically expand. So if you're born in heaven, there is no mother or father as such. You're born with that body, and then you get created as a heavenly being or a hellish being. Does that make sense? So in English it's called a protean body, but in Jainism we call it a Vakriya body. So what's really interesting in this is the fact that Oma Swati, who wrote Tattvartha Sutra, didn't have any microscopes, didn't have, can only observe so much. But in our Jain scriptures, it's kind of structured down. It's like a biology lesson, right? So they've really thought about how different types of beings can be born, and even if I don't think he gets it wrong, but even if he did, it's just incredible the amount of thought level to think about. I want to have this kind of thinking, and I think that's the most incredible thing. Okay, let me come on to this later. So the other thing is sharks. Okay, they only kind of discovered a couple of 100 years ago, maybe a bit longer, that when a baby shark is born, it's not connected to its mother with placenta. It's just born. Okay, so when humans are born, right, we're connected to the mother, aren't we? That's how we get nourishment. Otherwise, where does the food come from? So the question is, well, the baby shark inside the mother's womb, where does it get its nutrients from? And kangaroos, same thing. So kind of any guesses? Have a guess. Who's done biology?
It absorbs through the skin.
Yeah, absorb their skin. What they say in sharks is that in the womb, the shark creates pressure in the womb, right? And literally, it's like one of these pressure valves. It's literally forcing nutrients to the baby shark mouth, right? By creating this pressure. Okay, but there's no placenta. There's no direct connection. Now we're going to come on to what Umaswati said, but he talks about this. So I think how did he know that? We only found out later on. So basically he says that, so let me just do 234. We're going to be finished in 5 minutes, but never mind. Maybe it's a meditation. So basically, let me come on to this 234. He says that the way that we are born is Jaryu, which is giving birth to a live person. Anda, which is kind of egg, born from an egg. Potajanam. So Potajanam means animals and vertebrates without placenta born in the womb. Right, that's exactly what he's saying. So again, how did he figure that out? How did he know? I doubt whether he had, he'd gone and looked at, how would he know? Without any, without any direct experience. How did he know that? But he did. It's quite incredible, really. So that's kind of fascinating. And then, as I said, Naraka and Devana, which is the hell and heaven, are born by descent in a Vedkriya body, this kind of protean body, which we're going to come on to talk about in the next lectures. And all the other beings are born by, without sexual reproduction. And basically they get all their material needs from that surrounding, so like the frogs and the amoeba and so on. So the other interesting things, I wasn't sure whether to share this with you, but I thought I might as well. Is that in the Tattvartha Sutra, it says that humans can be born, right, without mother or father, but their life is very, very, very short. Okay, and they're born in quite kind of horrible surroundings as well, and kind of waste and so on, Now again, kind of it's up to you whether you want to accept that or not, but I thought it was quite interesting. But that life is very, very, very short, right? So they don't survive very long. But that's specifically mentioned in the Tattvartha Sutra. Okay, so I think I'm almost done actually. It's gone quite quick. Maybe we'll do 15 minutes meditation or something in a minute. But I thought it'd be good to cover this. So let me just quickly talk about 233, which I skipped. And basically what it says is that in terms of the birthplaces, there are kind of 9 places, different modes that we can be born in, right? So there are places that are occupied by living things only and nothing else. Again, I speak to Ketanbhai about this, and it's like, where would that be then? You know, where there's nothing else, just living beings. It's hard to think about that, you know, because uh, surely beings need other non-living things to survive, right? You know, but then there are places that are only non-living things. So that's we can think of that, right? We can think of a place like Mars is not good, right? Mercury, right? Where there is nothing, there is just non-living beings. That's all. You know, there's just material. Obviously, places are occupied by both. Earth is a good example. Places that are very cold, very hot, and both hot and cold. And then places that are covered, uncovered, both uncovered and covered. So, Rajiv, do you know anything about this last bit? Because I really struggled on this. And the only explanation I could get is covered means that when you're born, are you born with blood and mucus on you? But I don't know whether that's right or not.
I do not know for sure,
Yeah.
but from what detail I read, covered essentially, I'm just guessing, it's like you're covered in a womb, so that's kind of a covered environment.
Yeah.
Open, as you mentioned, that there's some beings born open outside the womb,
Yeah.
and then could be a mixture of both.
Oh, yeah. It's just not very clear what that really means. So, okay, so really, I think we're going to finish quite early. So let me see if there's anything else we can cover. I mean, since we have a bit of time, let me just quickly talk about I've only done a bit of research myself on this, so Rajiv, you can maybe want to come in on this a little bit, but just the 5 types of body that we can be born with. So the first one is called the Ardharic body, which is basically the shape of the body that like we're in, you know, the space we occupy and the physical shape we take. And obviously, when we are liberated, we don't need that body. The other body is called the Tejas body, which is what gives us energy, kind of helps us with digestion, heat, and all of that, you know. So that's the other kind of body. So some people say they can see the energy shape of someone, you know, the Tejas of someone. So that's the other one. The third one is the karmic body. So this is where karma exists in relation to a soul. And the fourth one is called how do I say this, Rajiv? Aharak body? Aharak body, yeah. Is the Aharak body, which it basically only possessed by some souls, special souls. And the question, Pramit, you asked about being able to travel to another planet or another galaxy. This is the potential of that body to be able to travel that distance. So the person who traveled to Sichila was who traveled to Kunkumacharya, right?
Not Chichila, but to Mahavidya.
Sorry, to Mahavidya Kshetra, sorry. Sorry, I apologize. Mahavidya Kshetra. So he would have had to have that body to travel there. And this body is of a very small size and has that potential. And they say that some monks have this. So again, the example is being able to go to Mahavidya Kshetra. And that's how Kunkumacharya would have mentioned with the Swami. And then this last body we talked about was the Vaikriya body, which is this body that exists in heaven or hell and has this potential, you know, without mother or father, it has potential to grow into whatever it needs to. You know, it has that inbuilt potential to grow into that. And I think there are some, there can be some humans, Rajiv, who can have that Vaikriya body as well, right? Who have the potential to, no, not at all? Okay.
Only two.
Only
Devlok and
heavenly
Nara.
and hell. Okay. So I think it's only the other one that the Ahara body that some people have the potential to be in. Okay. So we kind of really done in terms of my. I wasn't sure how long we would, and I didn't want to. I didn't want to go too much into the detail of this because maybe it's not that relevant, So I just wonder what you guys would like to do. We could do 10 minutes of meditation if you wanted, or we could. Rajiv is here. Maybe take some Q&A. What would you like to do? Socialize.
Meditation.
Meditation? Okay, let's do meditation then. Does anyone want to lead the meditation? Anyone